A very quick video today about fixing the furler. Now this is a Facnor furler from our Dufour 32 from 1998. So it's fairly typical of the furlers on old boats, and Facnor is a French brand that keeps making furlers today, and you can still buy spare parts. Now you can see from this is the furler drum, as you're no doubt aware. If you're watching this, you've probably got a problem with your furler drum, as we had. And our problem was that these the metal guides were holding the line, but the upper and lower drum plates were both cracked and had large gouges in them. They'd been worn away on the edges, and they weren't holding the line in. The line was jumping either off the top, or worse, most frequently was dropping off the bottom. And as soon as you get a snag between the bottom of the plate there and the bottom of the metal guide, then you've got a problem, and you've got a halfway out jib sheet or genor or whatever it is that necessitates me going forward, normally in the middle of high wind, which is when you're wanting to bring in the jib, furl it in a little bit, or when you're just coming into port and you're under time pressure. So I found that you can buy the entire new furler drum for I think it's about €650 as a spare part. It's a complex piece of machinery. This one seems to work well. It rotates very well, but it had that problem with the two drum plates. So I was not able to buy the drum plates. They don't seem to be replacement parts that you can purchase. I found out the reason for that. The first reason is that this top piece comes off. So you can take out the furling rod that connects to the rest of the furler. You can take off the top piece, and this top plate can be replaced. The bottom plate, unfortunately, you would have to be able to disconnect the bottom piece that connects to the deck to the fitting on the deck of the boat. You'd have to be able to disconnect that from the furler itself, and in my case that was not possible. You can undo all the bolts you like. You can undo anything else you can find on there, but nothing seems to take it apart. So what I had to do in the end, in order to achieve this repair, was a couple of things. First, I had to take off the bottom screw plate here. You can see this little screw plate that holds on the bottom plate of the drum. Take that off, crack the plate off, and completely remove it. It was cracked and broken anyway. It turned out when I removed it, it was actually sitting in two halves. It had been cracked through both sides. And in order to replace that, I had to make a part in two pieces. So the second problem I had was that, on the top plate you can see you're able to remove the entire top, replace it with a piece cut from a template of the existing plate. Okay, that was easy enough done. Secondly, what material to use. I found that, in fact, I've used this now for a season, so I'm showing you this after one season's use. Hardly any wear on the top plate, a little bit of wear on the bottom plate. You can see I've snagged it a couple of times. That may need to be replaced in 3 or 4 years' time. But I've used what I think is a nylon cutting board, which I purchased from IKEA here in Sweden, and you can get them. You probably recognise actually no, it's not IKEA, this is a Lidl one. It's Ernesto brand, and that comes in two sizes. The thick plate, which is what I wanted to use for the top, and that's about, the original plate was only about 3 mil thick. This plate, the top plate now, is 7 mil thick, and it seemed to have no problem accommodating that. There's plenty of room to get the plate in. The bottom plate, I've had to use something a lot smaller, 4 mil, So I've used two different sizes, which is why two different colours. And the reason for that is, if I used the thicker plate on the bottom, I was unable to get the gap between the screws, and you can see the little screws at the bottom of the plate there, the screws and the bottom of this guide rail here. There was a snagging if I used the thicker plate, so I needed to use a thinner plate. After one season, I can say that it's an absolute success. Yes, you have to get your tension right. So there are all sorts of good things to do with your furler to make sure that it actually doesn't jam. But one of the most basic things is to make sure that the drum itself has proper drum plates. And if the drum plates are correctly set, you can see the gap between the drum plates and the metal guide is pretty solid. It's a very small gap. There really shouldn't be room, providing the line onto the drum plate comes through this window in the guide plate here, and it can't escape on the side, can't escape on that side, can't really escape on the top. The only problem is if it's pulled too far or allowed to sort of roll over itself, it can escape out the bottom. That bottom plate is a little more flexible. This is the best I can do, and most of the time it works very well. So there's a quick, low-cost, simple solution if you don't have a lazy €650 to spend on a new Facnor furler for your beautiful yacht, but do have enough money for probably €1 worth of cutting boards at IKEA or your local Lidl or Aldi. Then you can have a solution pretty easy to make and easy to install without having to pull apart the impossible components on the furler itself. Okay, bye.